Hey there gang, Patrick King here, coming to you from Central Ohio, getting prepared here in the next couple days to hit the air and fly across to Portugal for the next month or so. So anyway, today's question is coming to us from Lisa, and Lisa sends in, can you talk about the benefits of treeless saddles versus the typical treed saddle, and which ones are better for which horses? So what we want to first think about is what's the purpose of the saddle tree itself. And in any saddle, even your racing saddles have little half trees. The purpose of the tree in the saddle is to bridge the horse's spine and offer support for the weight of the rider. Okay? Now, we understand that there are some horses maybe that are difficult to fit. There are some saddles that fit better than others on certain horses. There are some saddles that we know that are just better made than others, and so they've got better shapes to their saddle tree that are going to fit better on most horses' backs and things like that. And then we have the other side of that, where there's a lot of mass-produced junk out there, right, that wasn't made to fit on anything but a shelf, right, between the manufacturer and the tack shop. So what we want to think about, though, again, we want to get back to that. The purpose of the tree itself in a saddle is to support the weight of the rider and to bridge the horse's spine. Now, what we know for sure is that in a treeless saddle, we're not actually bridging the horse's spine. So the weight of the rider, particularly right down through the seat bones, is going to be distributed right there in one place. It's going to be focused in one place, rather, on the horse's spine. And the challenge that we're going to run into with this is that now, because of that pressure, the horse's spine, of course, is not protected. The ligaments around the spine are not properly protected, and so the mobility and the relaxation of the spine that we would hope to have in a riding horse just isn't possible because of the pressurization there. Now, if you're a rider that weighs almost nothing, you know, maybe that's going to be different. It's certainly going to be different over a rider that's, you know, heavier, a larger rider. There's going to be, naturally, of course, the laws of physics, there's going to be more force on the rider's spine, or on the horse's spine. But regardless, weight focused in one area on the horse's spine, whether it's lightweight or heavyweight, is still going to be causing that pressure and causing that restriction in the spine. Now, question is going to come up then, what do? We've got a saddle that doesn't fit, but we've got a treeless saddle that we think might fit okay. Temporarily, I suppose a treeless saddle that is very well fitting for what it is going to be a better option than a poor fitting typical treed saddle. But that's only for the short term because, again, of the idea that we talked about supporting the rider's weight and bridging the horse's spine. So we want to really think about that. If we're going to use something like that, it shouldn't be for the long term. Long term, we're going to end up causing restriction in the spine. We're going to end up causing back issues, spinal issues, ligament, tendon issues. We're going to be causing, long term, lameness in our horse by riding with tack that isn't supporting the weight of the rider. That's what we have to think about with the treed versus the treeless idea. I'm not saying that I hate treeless saddles. There's a lot of people on one side or the other of the fence there. If it's the only option that we have in the moment, then, you know, it's better than a poorly fitting saddle potentially, all right? But there is not, so far from what I've seen, there's not a treeless saddle, by nature of not having a tree, by nature of not being able to support the spine. There's not a treeless saddle, even the best ones that I've seen as far as best fit, there are none that can support the weight of the rider and the natural mobility of the horse's spine the way that a properly fitting treed saddle can do. So that's going to be our answer there, Lisa. If it comes down to it and we have to use one temporarily, that's okay. But the whole purpose of the tree in the saddle is to support the rider, is to distribute the weight more evenly. So we want to make sure that we've got that tree that does the job it's designed to do, and that's going to support our horse long term much better than any treeless saddle. that I've seen. Maybe there's some on the horizon that I haven't yet seen, but I go around to a lot of the expos around the country, and I see a lot of stuff out there, and I've yet to see something that's going to fit as well or support as well as a properly fitted saddle with a normal tree. So there's only so much that we can do with pads. There are some great pads on the market, of course, saddle pads or saddle blankets if we're riding with dressage or English style saddles. There's some support that can be offered there, but you can't beat properly fitting TREED saddles. It's common to try to over pad, double pad, triple pad. I see all that kind of stuff going on. For saddles that aren't fitting right, for saddles that the trees are maybe pinching, things like that. To double pad or to put thicker pads on a tree that's pushing down into your horse's spine because it's too narrow or doesn't fit makes about as much sense as putting 6 pairs of wool socks on because your shoes are too small. That doesn't make sense. You wouldn't do that. And we wouldn't make much sense of doing that with our horse either. And in the bareback pad, of course, the extra padding under there might seem better to us. It might seem nicer. It might seem more gentle or whatever. But the idea is, it's going to just be a cushion for your seat, but the pressure is still going to be isolated into one primary area there, and that's going to be right down onto the horse's spine, onto the vertebra and onto the ligaments that surround the spine. So something we want to think about. So hopefully, Lisa, this has been helpful to you, and hopefully this is helpful to anybody else out there who might be pondering these ideas. If you've got some friends that might need to hear this advice or you'd like to share it, please feel free, tag them in the comment section below, or share this video directly with them if you would like to. Don't forget, gang, you keep on sending in your questions, and I'll keep talking about horses. But a question of the day for all of you out there. Let's see. What do you ride? Do you ride treeless? Do you ride TREED? Or with a typical TREED saddle? And I'm curious, what kind of saddle are you riding in? What's the brand of saddle? That's going to be curious. Give me your answers to that in the comment section below on this video here. Don't forget, gang, you keep talking, or you keep asking questions. I'll keep talking about horses. Thanks for tuning in.